Here we have a pre-owned 2013 Chevrolet Avalanche. This one comes in the Black Diamond trim level, so it's basically an LTZ loaded out with a few extra features. And since it was the final year of the Avalanche, they decided to send it off with that Black Diamond edition. But this one's a black on black perforated leather interior. And then we have a 5.3 liter naturally aspirated V8 engine, made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Coming around the front end here, halogen headlamps, halogen fog lights, pretty identical to the 13 Tahoes. And then down here we have 20-inch wheels. You get power running boards. And there are the crossbars up there for the luggage rack. Then over here we have heated cooled seat function, memory seat functions. So we have 3-stage heated and cooled seats. We can do the seat back or the seat back and seat bottom for the heat. And then the whole seat cools there. And we have power folding mirrors. So the turn signals are in those, and you fold them out hitting that button. And then we have one touch down for the front 2 windows, and then just normal power windows for the back. Rear window lock is here, and then power door lock controls here. Power mirror controls there. You pick a side and then just adjust. But this one's still in good shape. The door panel is, bottle holders there. I mean, this is really a really nice example here. Headlamp controls are here, fog light controls there. And here's our power driver seat with 4-way power lumbar support. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the hood for later. So I have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3". And I'm gonna go ahead and check out the legroom back here. So pretty good, especially for a 13. This isn't a full-size pickup truck. So there's a grab bar hanger hook on this side. It's on both sides actually, so that's nice. I like that we have seat back pockets on both sides. And yeah, pretty decent legroom there, just touching the back of the seat a little bit. Now down here, you can actually turn on your rear entertainment system here. So you set that up, you can toggle the source. So if you want to listen through the headphones here, and then you have the option of using, let's say, plugging up an Xbox or DVD player, and then that'll drop down there, and you just hook up your audio video cables right there. Then you have a 12-volt there, so you can put an inverter there, and then you're good to go. And then the center seat folds down. We have cup holders there. I'm not seeing a lot of wear on this example. Very impressed for the mileage in the year. And this one does take flex fuel, so you can put E85 or gas in here. And then coming around to the back end, there it is. We'll take a quick look at the exhaust. Then the spares there. Tow package. And this one has a carpeted bed, which I really like. And then we also have this tonneau cover as well. But see, like here we got a couple scratches here. But most people who had these, they loved them and took absolute great care of them. So I'm not surprised. And we have storage underneath the seat there. So I like how this is done. You actually lift it from there, and then you can hide a few things underneath. And then the front passenger seat, very impressed by the same power controls and power lumbar support. And a lockable glove compartment here. Like that wood grain finish, and we'll check that out further. And you also have that same 3-stage heated cooled seats for the front passenger as well. Now I'll get in a little more detail at the front end here. Like there's a few scratches here, and I can see where it's been touched up here, had a few rock chips, but all in all, just a smooth finish here on this Avalanche. And then you have a few spots right around here. But like I said, super shape for the year. And there's that V8 engine there. That's really tough to close when you have the spring all the way up, but other than that, or I should say the strut. But let's go ahead and hop in here. So leather wrap steering wheel still seems to be in great shape, and you can heat that by hitting this button right here, which I love having this, especially on a 13 model. It was a little ahead of its time there. But great shape the steering wheel is. And same with the radio. We get the navigation system here. There's a view of the map there. And then all that's touchscreen. You can put in your destination here, points of interest, or enter an address, whatever. And touchscreen still seems to be working perfectly fine. We do get a CD drive here. And then we can go through all of our menu options here. So time, display, the nav, the radio, and of course the tone if you want to adjust the bass, treble, all of that. And then we also have our favorites. And I like that you can just toggle that and go through all of your favorites in the menu. So pretty neat. And then for your sources, you can go between your AM, FM, and XM there. And then you have the option of hooking up a USB as well as, like I said, that CD drive, but I'll show you that a little later on. And then we have buttons for seek and tune, all of that. So there's a knob for the tune, volume knob, and then you can power everything down there. And then we do have dual zone automatic climate controls. And we can unsync there, which I like. Or you can adjust the temperature and it'll turn it on. Auto mode here, fan speed there, adjustable pedals. Just a little bit of a creaking noise coming from those, but they still work. Parking sensors, traction control, and then we can turn the running boards off since those are power. And then two 12 volts right here. And the buttons usually worn out on these, so these are still in decent shape for the mileage or the age. A little storage spot there, cup holders there. I like how all those still work, but love this wood grain finish. Even those 2013 still look good for the year, and even today, nice look. Now there's the USB port there, another 12 volt in there. Power sunroof, so we can either tilt it up, tilt it down, or we can one touch slide it. I like that it goes pretty far back. Then we can one touch close it as well. There's a quick look at the back seat from up here. And then dome lights seem to still be working. Garage door transmitter. And then for the shifter, pull up here, reverse, neutral drive. Then we have a low or manual mode, excuse me. We can manually shift right there. And then you hit this button here for the tow haul mode. And it'll illuminate that yellow trailer. Now to the left side, stalk of the steering wheel, there's the blinker. And windshield wipers, just turn it up with speed. And then high beams there, or there. And then push that up there, you'll get the front wiper fluid. And before I forget, we do get a Bose sound system. And then back over here, cruise controls are here. Toggle that on and off there, and then normal buttons. And then volume controls are here, so you can turn up volume there, turn down volume there. And then you have your mute button, and you can go through your radio stations, or not a mute button, but this is how you hang up your Bluetooth phone here. And then you can go through your actual stations one by one. You can see that over there. And then you can toggle your source using this button right here. And then you can go through your favorites using these two arrows here. And then voice recognition and Bluetooth control there when you have your phone hooked up. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else. Here's a quick look at the gauge cluster. Like I said, right under 80,000 miles. Hazards right here. And then we do have remote start, so it does have a turn key, but there's the key fob with the remote start there. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2013 Chevrolet Avalanche Black Diamond out on the road for a quick test drive. So starting the test drive out, the 5.3 is still pretty strong, even with this mileage here. And no weird downshifts so far. Yeah, the transmission seems to be shifting absolutely smoothly, but we'll give it a real test getting on the interstate. The ride feels good. Steering feels just a tad loose to me, but that's how all of these drove. Let's see how it shifts in the manual mode. So shifts, could barely feel them. I'm pretty impressed by that, even in the manual mode. And downshifts are also pretty smooth. But with this being on pretty much the same platform as a Tahoe, and all of the powertrain, everything came from that as well, I'm not surprised, because that probably 2011 to 14 Tahoe was just a really good setup before GM started getting fancy with fuel management and all of that. So that's why a lot of people still try and find these, because it's just a really good setup. Gas mileage was decent for a pickup truck at that time. Getting a little bit of wind intrusion here, but we have the sunroof, and then on top of that we have the crossbars on top, so I'm sure that's where a lot of it's coming from. But the ride is fantastic, riding on that same platform. Just getting a little bit of shake when I hit the brakes and the steering wheel. But all in all, what really impressed me is just how nice this thing still looks. And like I said earlier, the Black Diamond Avalanches are kind of like a rarity in today's market. I know a lot of people that had them 3 or 4 years ago even just really loved that, because it was supposed to be the last year of the Avalanche, and the LTZ Black Diamond was the cream of the crop. You were able to get an optional entertainment system. You had the sunroof, power running boards, navigation, just fully loaded. And one thing I always liked about the Avalanche over, let's say, a 13 Silverado was I just always felt that this drove more like an SUV as opposed to a full-size pickup truck. But for 80,000 miles, this is definitely held up pretty nicely. Let's give it some throttle here. Wow. That was very nice. Really nice acceleration. I love how it got to that red line point and the shift was so smooth. There wasn't any sort of jerking or anything. I just kept getting that high RPM power there. So it's definitely not slow. It has a 5.3 V8, a 6-speed automatic. And like I said, for this mileage, it's held up pretty nicely, it seems. And the AC is blowing cold. All of the radio controls seem to be working fantastic. And of course, you can find one of these, maybe not an LTZ Black Diamond. There probably are a few out there, but especially an LTZ, even if it's an older year, you'll see those still driving around with 220, 230,000 miles on them. So these seem to hold up pretty nicely to that 200K mile range where you need to start replacing everything anyway, doesn't matter what kind of car you get. But loving the ride. Very SUV-like. Same with the steering, just how the steering wheel feels, how the overall seating position feels. And this is still a pretty penny as opposed to what it was new. It's not, I don't think it's as much, but in this market we're in today with inflation and all of that, this is not cheap. But if you want something that drives like an old truck but still has all the luxury that you're used to or that you want in a truck today, including the heated steering wheel and a cooled seat, which was crazy for 2013, definitely go with this Avalanche Black Diamond. And then, like I said, in terms of the mileage, with 80,000 miles, have a few scratches. Interior seems to have held up perfectly. And then it might be time to replace those brakes here after a while. But other than that, still a really good truck. And this brings me to the end of my review of the 2013 Chevrolet Avalanche LTZ Black Diamond.